Hey, chiropractors, welcome to Modern Chiropractic Mastery with your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, where we discuss the latest in marketing, business, and professional growth with some of the leading experts in the industry. Hey, docs, welcome to another episode of Modern Chiropractic Mastery. Today, I'm bringing you a solo episode titled Priming the Pump, and we'll dive into that and what that means for your practice. But before I do, wanted to make a little bit of an announcement. I'm going to be hosting a free for students only. This is only going to be for students, and it's going to be in Boca Raton on November 22nd. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's going to be a free student business workshop. We're going to dive into about 4 hours of business and, the really understanding from a student perspective what you'll be getting into. And we'll talk a lot about the business of practice analytics, content marketing for chiropractors, strategic community outreach strategies. Our goal is to really get you primed for practice, whether when you graduate, you are an associate or you own a practice or you're partnering, whatever it is, these are the things you're going to need to know that frankly, you don't get in school. No fault of their own, but you don't get a lot of this in school. And we're going to have to limit it to 24 attendees, but we have turned our practice here in Boca Raton into a teaching facility where we're able to convert our big open rehab area into a classroom. We've got chairs and classroom tables. We've got a big one of those smart boards now and the whole 9 yards. So it'll be a first-class experience for you how to learn about business. So check out that registration in the show notes here. Again, we will limit it to 24. It is free. You will have to secure your spot with a credit card. And if you do not show up, we will charge you 100 because again, since it's free and we can limit it to 24, I don't want a situation where we get people signing up and then not really deciding to come. And so you gotta have a little bit of skin in the game, but again, you will not be charged if you actually show up to it. And so that'll be 24 people, November 22nd in Boca Raton, Florida. So awesome. Hope to see you there and start learning what you need to learn to take it to the next level when you do graduate. Let's take a break from today's episode and announce our first sponsor. This is going to be Propel Marketing and Design. I've known Darcy Sullivan for years. We've worked hand in hand on my websites. I don't trust anybody else to do the search engine optimization. She does a great job. There's so much to it. A lot of the lingo and the words are beyond my comprehension, but it's just amazing work that she does. And if you're really going to get results with Google, you have to make sure your website is SEO optimized. And I really don't want you doing it yourself as a chiropractor. So you just have to have this type of stuff done. And if you're looking to get more organic online traffic that pulls in new patients, Propel Marketing and Design is currently offering chiropractors who listen to this podcast a free SEO website review. The free review will help you uncover methods that will improve your website and boost your search engine visibility. Head over to propelyourcompany.com/chiropractor and schedule your free SEO website review. You won't regret it. She gets great results. Your website needs this. Your search results need this. Head on over there to propelyourcompany.com/chiropractor to get your free SEO website review. All right, so let's talk about priming the pump. I'm going to share an audio here in a little bit of where I kind of got this, and it's something that I've talked about a lot, necessarily not using that terminology, but priming the pump for business growth involves laying a foundation for expansion by optimizing resources, building momentum, and setting up sustainable systems. And ideally, you got to be doing things, and you got to trust the process that the work you're putting in is going to help you grow professionally, and it's going to help your practice grow. There's such an epidemic of chiropractors not putting in the work and then blaming the profession. Yeah, is the profession challenging? Are there negatives? Yeah, we see them in Facebook groups all the time, people posting, and little do they realize every profession, if you had a Facebook group or any type of state association meeting of any type of professional, they're all going to be complaining. We just don't see that. We know our struggles as chiropractors, but there's a lot of other struggles within a lot of other professions. And ultimately the ones I see that are complaining too much or complaining the loudest aren't necessarily doing what it takes to overcome the challenges within our profession. Because I know a lot of chiropractors that are. I am in a fortunate situation to get to talk to chiropractors of all stripes. And I've got chiropractors of all stripes that are doing well. And I would say there's a handful of characteristics of those docs that are, but one of them is they've continued to prime the pump, and they've continued to trust the process with that and have some delayed gratification, right? Like realizing if I'm doing this amount of community outreach, I may not see the new patients tomorrow, but I'll see them down the road. It's been fascinating now that I've been practicing for, you know, 20 years, and in this particular practice that I've owned outright for 15, is sometimes I get new patients where it's from an event I did 8 years ago, right? And it just this summation effect of doing a lot of stuff over time starts to bear fruit, but you have to be able to prime the pump. And too many people put a lot of thought into growth, but not a lot of action into growth. And so I want to uh, go right into this little audio. This is from Zig Ziglar. It's a few minute clip of him talking about priming the pump.
I got a couple of good friends who many, many years ago were riding around in the South Alabama foothills. It was a hot August day, and they got thirsty. Bernard Haygood was driving, Jimmy Glenn was the passenger. They pulled behind this old abandoned farmhouse, and Bernard hopped out. He ran over, and there was an old pump on the well, and he grabbed the handle, and he started the pump. How many of you have ever used one of these old-fashioned water pumps? Can I see your hand, please? Okay, well, he had got the pumping away, you know, and after about 3 or 4 minutes, he said, Jimmy, better get that old bucket over there and dip some water out of the creek. We're going to have to prime the pump. How many of you know what I'm talking about when I say you got to prime the pump? Well, for you underprivileged non-pumpers, that just means you got to put something in here before you get something out there. Can't you just see an old farmer standing out in the fields in October and saying, Lord, I know I didn't plant a thing this year, but if you give me a big crop this year, I'll plant more than anybody next year. It ain't that way, folks. You got to put something in before you can expect to get anything out. Well, he's just pumping away. You know, that's hot. It's August. I mean, the question is just how much pumping are you going to do for a drink of water? And finally, old Bernard said, you know, Jimmy, I don't believe it's any water down there. Jimmy said, yeah, it is, Bernard. You know, in South Alabama, the wells are deep. And, oh, we're glad they're deep because the deeper the well, the cooler, the cleaner, the sweeter, the purer, the better tasting the water. And isn't that true of life? Isn't it true that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly? Until you can learn to do it well. We'll never know how much more success we would have had we just had a little more pumping in there and pump and pump and pump and pump. Well, finally, old Bernard just got disgusted. He threw up his hand. He said, Jimmy, there's just no water down there. Jimmy said, don't stop. If you stop, the water's going to go all the way back down, and then you're going to have to start all over. The reality is, folks, and I'm totally convinced of this, this is the story of America. This is your story. This is the story of success. This is the story of life. I believe with all of my heart that if you will pump long enough and hard enough and enthusiastically enough, that eventually the reward is going to follow the effort. And then once that water starts to flow, all you got to do is just keep a little easy, steady pressure on it, and you're going to get more water than you can possibly use.
So you can see someone like him has got a lot of energy. And if we were all blessed with that charisma and energy, we probably would do better. But what he's saying is true, and you can apply that to any endeavor you're doing. And we're going to obviously apply it to chiropractic today. Let's take a short break for one of our great sponsors, TrackStat. It is a new type of software plugin for your EHR that combines patient communication, marketing, automation, and statistics with patient and employee tracking. Built by chiropractors for chiropractors, it shows your team what to focus on each day. See patient visit habits, missing information, unpaid bills, insurance collection visit average, and more. Great visibility of data so you can focus on filling your office with your best patients. When you can see what your staff and patients are doing or not doing, and take action accordingly, your profits naturally grow. Take TrackStat for a test drive in your office with our free trial. Not a techie, no problem, we can help. To get started on your free trial, visit trackstat.org and watch the demo. That is trackstat.org. I just wanted to cover kind of briefly, 5 steps to prime your pump for your chiropractic practice. And so step 1 is you gotta nail your vision. You gotta get super clear on what your vision is, what's gonna motivate you to achieve that vision. We do a lot with our clients on getting the overall vision, but then a 3-year vision, like, and it's goes back to that R factor question from Dan Sullivan, a strategic coach. What has to be the case 3 years from now for you to be happy with your results, both personally and professionally? And answer that question. What does 3 years look like? And I want you to take the time to write out your 3-year vision plan. What does it look like in your practice or in your just professionally? And then maybe you sit down and you say, okay, now what does that mean for me personally? So step 1 is you got to get clear on what your vision is. Step 2 is you need to know your audience inside and out. We do the audience builder exercise for all our clients. Like, if our clients don't get one thing, they're going to get clear on who their audience is so that when they actually start to take the action necessary, it's got a higher chance of working. So you got to know your audience, and we do that. I wrote about it in the book. Right, you can go to Amazon.com. Doing It Right: Modern Chiropractic Marketing. It was published by Parker University 5 years ago now, and so that's a big thing that I've always talked about. Step 3 is you want to streamline your operations. You definitely got to get efficient within your practice, and again, that's another thing we tackle with our clients. Everybody throws around the word systems, and that's important. And you really got to get your operations functioning well so that when you do get some new patients in, it's a great experience for that patient. And then they refer, right? So many people, their operations are not good and the patient does not give them a full chance or may stick through their treatment plan, but aren't going to really recommend them. We've all done businesses like that where it's like we're kind of pot committed. We do it, but I'm not going to probably come back after this dinner. I'm not going to refer my friends, whatever, right? So you got to streamline your operations. It's so important. Let's take a short break from today's episode to tell you about the best decision I've made in my clinic in the last 10 years, and that has been adding shockwave therapy to our clinic. The outcomes have been really impressive. Certain conditions we were struggling with in the past, we're now seeing results with the shockwave therapy for that. And second of all, the ROI has been really good. When you make a big investment in something, you want to see a return, and we're seeing that return in clinical outcomes and in our investment, and that's been really nice to see. I chose Keenest Medical for 4 reasons. One is the technology is top notch. You have to have great technology. There's a lot out there that isn't quite up to snuff. The second thing is they have a really good clinical training. They have an exclusive partnership with Academy of Shockwave Excellence so that you can become clinically proficient in shockwave. You do need to get skilled at it. I think that's a big differentiator between practices that are getting great results and seeing the ROI is they have a great clinical aspect to that as well. So you want to get trained appropriately. Third is they have in-house service team for all of your technical support, which is key when you're investing in a machine like this. And then lastly, they have a very in-depth marketing and business support for you so that you can launch this into your practice effectively, that you can get that ROI on it, that you can get the clinical outcomes. And they also have really good financing options if you need that. So go to kinasmedical.com, KINAS medical.com, mention MCM podcast and receive a free shockwave in practice book with a purchase of a unit. So that's kinasmedical.com, KINAS medical.com, and mention MCM podcast. Next, step 4 is amplify your marketing, right? This is something I harp on all the time, whether it's consistent content marketing in the online world, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and emailing your patients and blogs and just getting content out there, or it's community outreach, strategic community outreach to where you're really meeting a lot of people in your community consistently. This is such a big one. You might meet 10 people and 2 of them refer to you and that's okay. And then you meet another 10, and then you get 2 referring. Like, you meet 100 and you got 20 people referring to you or whatever, and so it's not going to be a home run all the time, but you got to continue to prime that pump and getting out there and meeting people or putting out content consistently. That is definitely priming the pump. You, even if you don't think marketing works, you're not right, but you just probably got to get better at it. But you got to be consistently amplifying your marketing. And then step 5, plan your finances. You got to really, really understand your finances. I don't have all the details right now, but each year at the end of the year, we do a online course that's very digestible over 6 weeks. And we're going to do one on finances this year. It'll be December. We'll probably launch it to sign up in November, and it's gonna be good. We've got Holly Tucker and we've got Christine Odell already kind of signed in to do a module on that. I'm gonna do the rest, and the people that take that are gonna really truly understand their practice finances and how to plan that. So you got to make sure that you've got a really good grasp of your financials, and that's going to help you also prime the pump. And another way that we do this with our practice, with our clients, we have the CSA digital dashboard. If you're a CSA member, which is only $99 a month, you get access to that. If you're an MCM member, coaching client, you get access to that as part of it. But we have a whole tool on there called the indicator scorecard, and it's when you track your leading and trailing indicators. Example, the trailing indicator is going to be your new patients, or let's make it even more niche. It's like, let's say you want to have 5 MD referrals per month to your practice. That would be a trailing indicator. What are the leading indicators that you're doing to actually get those MD referrals? How are you priming the pump to actually get those MD referrals? And so we have a whole scorecard where you track that. You track all your trailing indicators, and then what leading, how many MD meetings are you going to do per month to make sure that happens? Or if you're trying to get more reactivations, what are you doing with that? Are you trying to get more Google reviews? What are the leading indicators to get more Google reviews, right? So we lay this whole thing out for you, which is essentially a documented strategy to prime the pump for your practice. And we do it every quarter. And September's always a good month. It's one of the ones where we do quarterly planning for our members. So in September, most of our calls are geared towards Q4 planning so that our clients really finish the year strong. I've said this multiple times, but as we know, January 1st is the start of every year, but it really feels like September is the start of the year. Everybody's back to school. Everything's back to normal. Family vacations are done. And, this is when you gotta, everything's back to normal. I got no more summer malaise excuses, and we got to get it going, and let's finish it strong, and let's not just kind of tail off at the end there. And so we do a lot of Q4 planning, and September's a great time to prime the pump. And if you haven't been priming the pump, maybe Q4 is the time where, I'm going to prime the pump hard, and then, keep on going into 2026 and make sure 2026 is my best year ever. And then the same thing for 27, 28. And keep on growing there. And so just consistently do what you need to do to grow that practice. If you don't know, some of you know what you need to do when you're not doing it. And we all got reasons why. Some of you don't know what needs to be done, and you're kind of frustrated with it. And that's where, either way you fall in that, we're here to help you out. So, check us at modernchiropracticmarketing.com if you want to find out more of our programs on how we can help you prime the pump of your practice and then ultimately get the results that you've been dreaming of. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And if you want to make the shift from busy, broke, and broken to time-free and cash confident, or you just want to continue with the exponential growth, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com. Look at the MCM Mastery tab, watch the short video on there, and check out what we are doing now for evidence-informed chiropractors. We are equal parts coaching and marketing done for you. Yes, you shoot some videos, we help you with campaign strategies and ideas and really become a thought leader in your community. You shoot those videos, you send them to us, we produce, edit, and brand them to you. Then we distribute them through all of your channels. We also take them and we turn it into one good blog per month. And every other month, we have Darcy Sullivan producing a robust blog with a topic that you pick from her database to help with your SEO. So we essentially become your content marketing agency to make sure your practice is always having ethical, elegant content marketing to help grow your practice. On the coaching side, we also help you with everything from marketing ideas to business, communications, finances, anything practice growth, and really try to help prevent you from being stuck on that island. And we hold you accountable. We have a great group of doctors that are just doing amazing things, and we look forward to help you out to take that next step in your practice. So again, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com and learn more.